I felt like, they had like, a whole lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in. Because, sometimes you around and you're watching to see things to do.
She's 28 years old. She's from Maryland. And according to her, she's spent her entire life living in the shadows. But now, she's stepping into the spotlight with a claim so explosive, it could send shockwaves through Jay-Z's entire legacy. Her name is Letitia Merbut on Instagram. She goes by a name that's way more provocative, Jay's first daughter. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't some fan theory or clout-chasing cousin. This woman is boldly claiming to be the biological daughter of Sean Carter himself, not a supporter, not a niece, his actual daughter. And she says she's
Jay-Z. I heard that no one really wanted to sign him when you were shopping him around the record labels. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was, I want to say, I don't know, 90, 91 maybe. We recorded some songs, probably about 4 or 5 songs on Jay-Z, and shopped them to several different record labels, and they all passed.
She's not just talking, she's coming with receipts. According to her, she's got DNA evidence that proves it. It all started with a raw, emotionally charged post where Letitia broke her silence. I've been quiet for far too long. In her own words, she's been living in a city where the truth wasn't just a rumor, it was common knowledge. Everyone allegedly knew Jay-Z was her father. Yet she grew up in the shadows, no recognition, no support, and no lifeline. All while her mother was slowly losing a brutal fight against chronic illness. Letitia says her mom, bedridden from multiple sclerosis, went from a vibrant, strong woman to someone fading before her eyes. And while the world looked the other way,
I can only say as a father that I hope I instill with them the values that they would want to look for in a man. And I think I did when Beyoncé wrote on her, I think it was her first album, maybe it was the second one, the song Daddy, that she hoped that she found someone just like her daddy.
Letitia had to grow up fast raising her own child, working 2 jobs, and going to school, all while carrying a truth whispered for decades that she's the forgotten branch of hip-hop royalty. To Letitia's family, this isn't some new fantasy cooked up for clout. They claim this story goes back way before Beyoncé was ever in the frame. In fact, Letitia's aunt publicly stated she was the one who first introduced Jay-Z to Letitia's mom back in the early 90s before Rockefeller, before the fame, before the billions. She insists it wasn't some one-night backstage situation, it was a real relationship, and she's not just talking. She brought receipts, names, addresses, timelines, all of it. She even claims they tried reaching out to Jay-Z at Rockefeller headquarters after finding out about the pregnancy only to be shut out and ignored. But then, it gets even messier. Rapper Oshino from State Property, a former Jay-Z affiliate, claims Jay didn't just know about Letitia, he's been secretly supporting her for years. According to him, there's a house in Cambridge, Maryland, that's paid for by Jay-Z, where Letitia allegedly lives. But it wasn't some open-hearted support deal. No, there were rules. No pictures of Jay allowed in the house. No social media posts, no public link. The goal, keep the Carter brand squeaky clean, no scandals, no extra kids, no drama. So the question is, why now? Why is Letitia risking it all to go public? One theory gaining traction fast is that she's done living in the shadows, tired of being erased while the Carter kids live in private schools and penthouses. And if this feels familiar, it should. This bombshell is tearing open an old wound Jay-Z's been trying to bury for years. The unresolved case of Ramir. You remember Ramir, the man who's been battling Jay-Z for over a decade, claiming to be his son from a 1990s relationship with a woman named Wanda. She passed in 2019, but before she died, she swore in an affidavit that Jay-Z was the father. And Ramir, all he wants is a DNA test. Just the truth. But Jay-Z has allegedly done everything in his power to avoid its shifting jurisdictions, ducking court rulings, and according to legal filings, using legal trickery to keep the whole thing sealed shut. Sound familiar? Now that Mecca's
Okay, I give y'all the tea. Let me tell you what I heard. What I heard is that over the next
stepping into the spotlight, this isn't some random one-off anymore. This is starting to look like a paterna disturbing one. 2 separate people, from 2 different walks of life, both pointing to the same man, Jay-Z. And they're not just claiming paternity, they're exposing the version of his past the public was never meant to see. So the question everybody's asking now is simple. What does Beyoncé think about all this? Let's not forget Jay-Z already got stomped out by Solange in that elevator. on camera, in public. And y'all really think Queen Bey didn't know? Why? Sources close to the couple say she's fed up. We're hearing about fights behind closed doors, emergency PR meetings at ROC Nation, and a full-blown crisis spiraling out of control. Word is, Beyoncé's put her foot down, demanding Jay-Z take the damn DNA tests and face whatever comes next. But here's the catch. If Jay-Z does take those tests, and it confirms what Mecca and Rhaenyra have been saying for years, the fallout won't stop at just a headline. We're talking about a scorched earth level catastrophe. The marriage, the family, the Carter brand, everything built on this image of perfection comes crashing down. But if he stays silent, that silence, it might be louder than any denial he could ever give. To the outside world, this might look like just another Hollywood mess. But to those inside the Carter camp, this is a reckoning. Mecca's not playing anymore. She's not hiding. She claims to have DNA results ready to go. And if they check out, Jay-Z won't just be another celebrity dad caught slipping, be the architect of a cover-up that spans decades and multiple lives. This ain't about lyrics anymore, this is about legacy. Because let's be real, this isn't just Mecca. This storm is sweeping through Jay-Z's past like a Category 5. From hidden houses in small-town Maryland to gag orders, hush money, and sealed court records. Rumors of NDAs, cash settlements, and women paid off to stay silent are swirling like vultures. And now, social media has cracked the vault wide open. Mecca's gone viral, and there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. And here's the scariest part. What if Mecca and Rhaenyra aren't the only ones? According to a former ROC Afella insider, there have been multiple women over the years who came forward only to be quickly silenced. Quiet settlements, off-the-record payouts, legal threats, all buried under layers of NDAs. But this is 2025. Secrets don't stay buried anymore, especially when a woman like Mecca says she's done being quiet and she's just getting started. And with every post, every whisper, every leaked court document, the Carter empire is inching closer to collapse. We may be witnessing the early stages of the biggest celebrity divorce in modern history. One paternity test away from blowing it all to hell, Jay-Z's about to be the next one dragged into the spotlight. And word on the street is Beyoncé's legal team isn't waiting around. They're already drafting scenarios from public divorce, plays to quiet co-parenting deals, and full-blown brand protection mode if the situation explodes. She's still standing by him technically, but insiders say the queen is tired. She's done playing the loyal wife. This wouldn't be her first betrayal, but it might be her last time cleaning up Jay's mess. And in the middle of it all, Jay-Z, the man who went from hustling in Marcy projects to selling out Madison Square Garden, has gone completely silent. No comment, no denial, no DNA test. Just strategic silence and heavy legal firepower. But silence doesn't look strong right now. It looks scared. This isn't just some internet drama. This is a full-on war for Jay-Z's empire, his marriage, and his legacy, and time is running out. Letitia and Rhaenyra both say the same thing. If there's nothing to hide, just take the test. Letitia says all she wanted was acknowledgement. Rhaenyra too says he's not here to destroy anyone, he just wants the truth. This could have been settled with a simple conversation, he said, but instead of transparency, he says he got silence, denial, and a system that expected him to sit back and be quiet. But he's not staying quiet anymore. The biggest question going viral right now, why won't Jay-Z just take the damn test? If he's innocent, it should have been over years ago. But now there are two paternity cases haunting him, and fans aren't buying the privacy excuse anymore. They're asking if this is really about secrecy or about protecting something deeper, because at this point, avoiding the test doesn't scream confidence. It screams damage control and fear. In a sharply worded legal statement, Jay-Z lashed out, accusing the woman's legal team of blackmail. He went further, saying if these claims are true, file a criminal case, not civil. If someone did this to a minor, they belong in jail. But behind the scenes, it's not just press releases, it's legal games. Rhaenyra's filings accused Jay's team of blocking evidence, dragging out hearings, and even using legal loopholes to escape DNA testing. One of Rhaenyra's cases was dismissed on a technicality. Jay-Z's lawyers allegedly told the court he had zero ties to New Jersey, but court records later showed that wasn't true. Even the judge admitted Jay's lawyer misspoke. And that little error, it got Jay-Z out of having to take the test. Coincidence? Or was the game rigged from the jump? Because according to Rhaenyra, they're not just dodging him, they're dodging the truth. Rhaenyra's voice cracks as he says, "This isn't just about me anymore. If I gotta fight for everyone like me, I will." He's done being walked over by the courts, by lawyers, by billionaires with teams of handlers. If we can't go to the courts for truth, he asks, then what are they even for? And while Jay-Z's team paints it as a 10-year harassment campaign, Rhaenyra and his supporters say that excuses running out of steam fast. For over a decade. This paternity war has ping-ponged across courts, Pennsylvania to New Jersey to California. Every time Rhaenyra's mom or legal guardian tried to push forward, something or someone pushed back harder. Files sealed. Hearings shut down. Attorneys ignored. And despite all the media coverage, no judge has forced a test. No one's gotten a clear answer, and he's hiding behind statements and legal barricades. And that's why people aren't letting it go this time, because if it's all fake, if it's really just clout chasing, then why all the delays? Why all the lawyers? Why no DNA test? You'd think Jay-Z, a man who's built a brand on truth, justice, and fighting the system, would want to prove it wrong. But instead, his silence is becoming its own confession. And in the court of public opinion, that silence is deafening. According to her family, this isn't some sudden delusion. They claim this story predates Beyoncé entirely. Mattress Aunt even went public, saying she's the one who introduced Jay-Z to Letitia back in the early 90s before before the billion-dollar empire. And she insists it wasn't a backstage hookup, it was a real relationship. She's dropping names, dates, even alleged attempts to reach Jay-Z when Letitia got pregnant. She says they called Rocafella headquarters and got shut down cold. But here's where it flips from dramatic to sinister. Ashino Vasquez from State Properties, a former Rocafella insider, claims Jay-Z knew about Letitia the whole time. Not only that, he says Jay-Z has secretly supported her for years. Allegedly, there's a house in Cambridge, Maryland paid for by Jay-Z, where Letitia lives. But there were strict rules. No photos of him, no public proof, no connection. Just keep the legacy clean. Keep the Carter image perfect. So the question is, why now? Why is Letitia coming forward after decades in the shadows? One theory, gaining steam. She's done being invisible. She's tired of watching the Carter kids grow up in front of the world while her own child is buried in silence. And if this déjà vu hits a nerve, it should. Because this just ripped open the same wound Jassie's been trying to stitch shut for over 10 years. The case of Ramir Satterthwaite. You remember Ramir, the man who's spent a decade in legal hell, trying to prove Jay-Z is his father from a 90s fling with a woman named Wanda. Before Wanda died in 2019, she signed an affidavit naming Jay-Z. But instead of clarity, it's been years of legal gymnastics. Jay allegedly moved jurisdictions, dodged subpoenas, buried paperwork, anything to avoid a DNA test. Sound familiar? Same playbook, different name. And here's the million question. If Jay-Z really ain't the father, why all this firepower? Why spend years and money burying something a simple test could solve? Even Jay-Z himself referenced the situation in his lyrics. On Heard About Us, he raps Billie Jean in his prime. For the 1000th time, the kid ain't mine. Cute line, but clever bars don't hold in court. And fans are starting to hear that silence as something else. Strategy. One former Rocafella employee claims Jay's team has a routine: deny, delay, distract, confuse the jurisdiction, bury the trail, and most importantly, outlast the accuser. It worked in the past, but now, social media changed the game. Letitia didn't go to court, she went to Instagram. She brought the receipts straight to the public, and she's not alone anymore. As for Beyoncé, she's said nothing, but insiders say her silence is strategic, not submissive. One source called it a quiet chess game. She's not yelling, she's calculating, and after surviving the lemonade year, after airing her pain to the world, this might be the one betrayal she won't swallow. Because this isn't just infidelity, it's secrets, alleged children, hidden homes, lives erased from the Carter brand. And let's be real, how does Queen Bey, the face of empowerment and truth, look the other way while her husband allegedly hides 2 children and dodges 2 DNA tests? Insiders claim she's already drawn her line in the sand. Some say she's issued an ultimatum: take the test or lose everything. Others think she's waiting, watching Jay-Z either clear his name or hang his legacy. Is this the beginning of a rebrand, a solo renaissance, a visual album that speaks volumes without saying a word? If anyone knows how to own the story, it's Beyoncé. But make no mistake, this is no longer just a family issue. It's a full-blown reputation crisis. Jay-Z has built his image around justice, accountability, reform. But how can you demand transparency from the system when you won't give it to your own alleged children? Remember, best of both worlds. No one talks about that anymore, just like they're trying not to talk about this. Why? Because scandals don't take down legends, cover-ups do. One entertainment lawyer close to the Ramir case said it best: you don't fall because of the truth. You fall because you tried to hide it. And when that cover-up includes sealed records, missing files, and mysterious gag orders, people start asking, what else is hiding behind the Carter throne? Now, the public wants answers. Social media is watching everything. Every lyric, every interview, every excuse. Fans who once idolized Jay-Z are now demanding the bare minimum. Take the test, twice. If the kids aren't yours, prove it. If they are, then start acting like it. Because at this point, the empire is cracking. That all started with a raw, emotionally charged post, where Letitia Mason declared, "I've been quiet for far too long." According to her, she's spent her life in a city where everyone already knew the truth, that Jay-Z was her father. Yet, She grew up in silence, without acknowledgement, without support, all while watching her mother slowly deteriorate from a chronic illness. Letitia says she stepped up, balancing motherhood, to jobs, and school, while hiding a secret. Whispered, for decades, she is hip-hop royalty, living in the shadows. Letitia's family insists this isn't some recent fantasy. Her aunt even came forward publicly, claiming she was the one who introduced Jay-Z to Letitia's mom back in the early 90s, before Roc-A-Fella, before Beyoncé, before the billions. According to her, it wasn't a backstage fling or wild rumor. They had a real relationship. She even posted names, dates, and locations as receipts. When Letitia's mom got pregnant, they allegedly tried to contact Jay-Z at Roc-A-Fella's office, only to be met with silence. But then the story takes a darker, more twisted turn. Ossino, a former associate of Jay-Z and member of State Property, claims Jay-Z knew about Letitia, that he's been secretly supporting her for years. According to him, there's a house in Cambridge, Maryland, paid for by Jay-Z where Letitia now lives, but it came with rules. No photos of him in the house, no public connection, no evidence, just silence, secrecy, and protection for the Carter family image. So why is Letitia going public now? One theory gaining traction is simple. She's tired of being hidden, tired of the silence, tired of watching the Carter kids live in diamond-encrusted public luxury while she exists in the margins. And if this feels familiar, it should, because it echoes another name Jay-Z has tried to avoid for over a decade: Ramir Snithwaite, the man who claims Jay-Z is also his father, born from a 90s fling with a woman named Wanda, who named Jay-Z in a sworn affidavit before her death in 2019. For years, Ramir has battled for one thing: the truth. But Jay-Z, according to court filings, has done everything to dodge a DNA test, jurisdictional tricks, legal delays, and lawyers skilled in courtroom sleight of hand. Sound familiar? Both Ramir and Letitia now say they're done living in secrecy. They're demanding peace, clarity, and closure after spending their lives as ghosts in Jay-Z's empire. And the timing couldn't be worse. With lawsuits closing in, Diddy behind bars, and the golden era of hip-hop facing a reckoning, Jay-Z's image is on shaky ground. Former insiders are whispering this might not just be a scandal, it could be the collapse of an entire empire built on image, secrecy, and control. Rumors swirl of NDAs, hush money, and private investigators digging into property deals and secret communications with both families. If those receipts go public, the narrative could flip from denial to confirmation, from clean image to betrayal. Because once the truth leaks, it spreads like wildfire, and not even a billion-dollar PR machine can contain it. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, sources say, Beyoncé isn't waiting around. She's surrounded by legal advisors, crisis managers, and family strategists. Some say she's already laying the groundwork for a separate legacy, one that doesn't depend on the Carter name. She's been quietly building her own empire for years. Music, fashion, tech, film, carefully positioned to survive any fallout. And if things explode, insiders believe she won't flinch. She'll move strategically, globally, and with zero hesitation. As the walls close in, Jay-Z faces his biggest challenge yet. Will he finally face these claims head-on? Or will the truth unravel everything he's built? One thing is certain: the truth always finds a way out. And when it does, the fallout won't just shake Jay-Z, it could scorch everything around him. What do you think? Is this the beginning of Jay-Z's downfall? Or just another distraction in a carefully orchestrated game? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and remember, in the world of power and fame, nothing stays buried forever.